So another thing about journaling that I love is that it is amazing for problem solving. A lot of times we got things rattling around in our brains and we're not really sure how to sort of work through it, how to separate it, how to process it. And so we don't. We sit and we just sort of spin and we don't really get anywhere. We don't really end up solving the problem. We can just kind of get into this, what we call crazy eight, and we just kind of spiral back and forth. I'll talk more about the crazy eight another time. So one of the things I love about journaling is that it allows you to process. When you can put down on paper what's going on in your brain, and it doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to, you don't have to put a lot of thought into it. You can just brain dump and put it all on paper, because then you can see it and then you can start to process it. But also, one of the ways to problem solve is to ask yourself really powerful questions. If you've watched any of my videos in the past, you'll know that powerful questions is one of my absolute favorite things. In fact, I created a book all about 30 days of powerful questions. I'll give you a couple of samples. This can be a really great way to get started journaling, is having a guided journal, something that just kind of gets you into the habit. So here's a sample here. What is something I should say no to? How can I remove this from my life? And how will things change when I say no? So that's just a sample, and I'll just randomly pull to another page. What energy am I bringing to the people around me? How do I want people to feel around me? And does my energy match what I want it to be? So those are just some examples of some powerful questions that I've put together in this journal. But what I'm talking about for this video is using powerful questions to solve problems. So I made a list of questions. So if you write down what's going on in your life, and then you look at it and you ask yourself these questions. So what can I do? What can't I do? Who can help me? What actions got me here? What could I have done differently? What would I rather have? And then you can write out 3 other things that you could do in this situation moving forward. So this is one of the things that I have in my book, Rediscover You, is I think a lot of times we don't realize that we actually have options. We think that we got to figure out one way and that's it, and that's the only way to do it. But I recommend actually kind of going through and pretending like, if I made this decision, what's going to happen, and kind of lay it all out. And then, okay, cool. So now I've seen that one. Now, if I did it this way, what's going to happen? You kind of lay it all out. And I've got a whole template for this in my book, Rediscover You. And you can do this like 3 or 4 times. And that kind of gives you a glimpse of, like, it's not so much about the decision, it's about the ramifications or the circumstances that are going to come after you make that decision. And I like to say, you cannot connect the dots until you've got, you can only connect the dots backwards. So by doing an exercise like this where you actually play it out, it's almost as if you can now connect the dots backwards. You can be like, oh shoot, I didn't think if I did this, this, and this, that I was going to end up here. I don't think that's really what I want, so that's not a good option. But we often too quickly just jump to it and then go, shit, I shouldn't have done that. So again, this is just some of the things that I think are really amazing about journaling, is that you can put yourself in the position of sort of seeing what's going to happen if you do those things, so you can make a better decision. But also it allows answering all of these questions, which is not something that we typically do. We don't sit here and ponder things that deeply to really understand what's at the root of the problem, what can I actually do about it, and it just makes life a lot easier. So if you're interested in any of this, you can go to my bio, and there's a link tree in there. I have my Rediscover You journal. I have my planner there, and you can just look up Jessica Coulthard on Amazon, and you'll find all my cool journals and guided journals and notebooks and planners and all the cool stuff that I've created to help people like myself to have clearer paths forward.